runner by Sharif is no good. On the rakeout, Kuminga throws it down.
Hey!
Daniel. Here's Kuminga. And he nets another three. They want to see more. What a debut. Here he comes. And there it goes down.
The Atlanta Hawks are now finding out exactly why the Warriors fan base has been furious with Steve Kerr's handling of the young star player.
Especially what he's going through is Dyson Daniels picks the
with the steal, wrap around to Kuminga. To the top, Ricochet, corner three, Kuminga. Good again.
Okay.
Jonathan Kuminga with his third three.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm just excited. Get out there, get this dub. As many wins that we can collect out there. That's all that matters. It don't matter who go crazy, who don't go. Just as long as we all play for each other and get that dub, that's all that matters.
Jonathan Kuminga has been quite the enigma, and with his trade to the Atlanta Hawks, the mostly disappointed Warriors fans, as well as some in the organization, are excited to see JK flourish, even if it's with a different team. The Hawks organization, on the other hand, are in shock and pure disbelief at what they just found in the Warriors' trash. Even more so when you consider all they had to do was give up a player they couldn't use. The last time this much talent came from Congo to Atlanta, the trade was just as lopsided. What was also lopsided was the absolute blowout of the Washington Wizards. And I know what you're thinking. It's the Wizards. Good teams are supposed to blow them out. Well, Jalen Johnson, the engine of the Hawks and its only all-star, was injured after playing only 6 minutes. The Hawks also aren't exactly known as a powerhouse, and before this game had a tight series of 1-1 with the Wizards. All things considered, this was a good win that establishes a floor for this team and puts them up 2-1 on the season. That being said, what does Kuminga bring to this team, and seeing what he did, is this sustainable, and how well will he fit alongside Jalen Johnson? Check ball. Jonathan Kuminga's debut for the Hawks was a bittersweet experience. While JK was everything they hoped for and more, something was missing. Just a little over a minute into the game against the Wizards, Johnson started showing signs of discomfort. Over the next few minutes, the grimacing was obvious as he eventually made his way to the bench before Jonathan entered the game as his replacement. Shortly after, it was announced that Johnson had a hip-related issue, and this kept him from returning to the game. With JK coming off the bench specifically for Jalen tonight, however, does that mean Coach Quinn Snyder doesn't plan on playing the two together? Not exactly. Aside from the fact that this was only the first game, there is enough difference to warrant playing the two alongside each other. But we'll get to that in just a moment. When Jonathan Kuminga entered the game, the Hawks were up by 2. Then this happened. For the next 9 minutes, the Wizards faced a relentless onslaught of athleticism.
On the rakeout, Kuminga throws it down.
Shooting.
Kuminga, his three is good.
And why not? Because again,
passing.
Right now.
And a all-alone Ricochet jams.
And counters.
ISO'd.
That's tough. That's tough. Because you can put him at that mid-post.
They simply did not have an answer to Kuminga. By the time his first stint ended, the Hawks were up by 15 points. With Johnson unavailable to return to the floor and just under 4 minutes remaining, Snyder put JK back in to finish the first half. As a matter of fact, he couldn't wait to put JK back in the game. He actually tried to put him back in with over 4 minutes left, but couldn't as the out-of-bounds play didn't allow it. When he finally got back in, the Hawks had increased the deficit by 5, opening the lead up to 20 points before closing up 17. But then, the third quarter happened. In just the third quarter alone, Jonathan Kuminga had 18 points, hitting 5 of 5 from the field and 2 of 2 from distance. You might as well call him Midas. Every possession he touched was gold. The excitement was through the roof as the crowd and the commentators couldn't get enough JK minutes.
They want to see more. What a debut. Here he comes. And there it goes down.
How do you turn a 17 games per year player into the star power that is Jonathan Kuminga? It just doesn't make sense. Now obviously the Hawks won the game in blowout fashion 119-98, but not before Jonathan Kuminga finished with 27 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and 2 steals while going 6 of 7 from the free throw line in just 24 minutes. JK could have played a full 12 minutes doing cardio, and he still would have put up more points than the entire Warriors bench in the Pelicans game, who played for a combined total of 84 minutes. And yes, the Pelicans have been just as bad as the Wizards this season, actually statistically worse, as they were 16-42 before this recent matchup compared to the Wizards at 16-41. Tiny difference, but if the argument is that Jonathan Kuminga was so bad that he had to get DNPs, why does he make the Hawks a better team in his first game back from injury? The truth is that the personal issue between Jonathan Kuminga and Steve Kerr was a major problem in Golden State. He wasn't getting put on the bench because he couldn't play in the system. He was simply tired of wasting away on the bench, not getting minutes, or developing for a team that simply wasn't good enough to win a championship. So now we see that he can perform well outside of Golden State, and he's like found money for the Atlanta Hawks. But is this sustainable for the Hawks' future? Firstly, this was not a fluke performance by JK, which is a major component of the gripe between head coach Steve Kerr and a majority of the fan base, as well as the team's ownership. Despite his obvious talent, and after years trying to fix the problem, it seems Kerr could not find a way to make things work with his young player. Jonathan Kuminga is just as talented as any of the top players in the 2021 NBA draft class that includes Cade Cunningham, Scottie Barnes, Franz Wagner, and Evan Mobley. Not only did his growth get stunted while playing at Golden State, his limited minutes limited his impact and prevented him from accomplishing what his peers have in the same amount of time. That being said, he did win a championship with the team, so he brings championship experience and understands what it takes to win at the highest level. He's played with the best and knows just how talented he is.
You want to know what I tell him? There's nobody in the world that can stop me. And then he believe it. And he go and show that there's no one in the world that can stop him.
Close enough. In just his first game, however, without the points factor, since we know he's a capable scorer, let's look at the rest of his game that he showed. But before that, Steve Kerr made a comment to give you some context.
I think JK is a player who, and he's told me this, it's not like I'm just, surmising this, but he's a player who needs minutes and touches to get his rhythm going and wants to make plays with the ball.
To translate, JK needs to feel like he's a part of the game and not a throwaway specialist to throw in at certain points of the game. While Steve Kerr tends to look for that in his players, that role devalues JK and keeps him from being able to carve out his own legacy. Now, while you might think this is selfish, what good was it doing for the team if they were not better or worse without him, but he wasn't being developed? Kuminga was all over the boards in the entire game. He's a decisive rebounder and has made notable comments in the past that it's something that he endeavors to get better at. If we look at his production when he plays 30 or more minutes, it becomes obvious that everything he does contributes to winning. He locks in defensively, grabs rebounds, moves the ball, and does the small things. This notion that he's a bad basketball player is bounded in fallacy and a lazy take that doesn't actually take into full account the way he plays the game. Another way to look at it is that he has a scorer-first mentality, like most players in his position. But that for him is an elite skill that isn't as common as you think. If he's allowed to play his natural game, everything flows naturally to him and the other aspects of his game begin to shine. This didn't work for Steve because he wanted a player to plug in with 5 seconds left before the buzzer to guard POA and then sit him on the bench for 10 minutes. There's a reason why so many former players and analysts called out Steve Kerr for his handling of the situation. When you pair Jonathan Kuminga, an elite finisher, transition player with defensive instincts, athleticism, and the ability to get to the line, and a three-point shot that works when he doesn't have a helicopter head coach just itching for a reason to pull him out of the game, good things happen. Johnson is going to love playing next to JK, who's always leaking out to finish on a break. No one in the league runs a break like Kuminga. It's the most terrifying sight for any lone defender. When you have a player like Johnson who grabs as many rebounds and has as many assists, those transition points are going to kill opponents. This also gives the Hawks an entirely different dimension when Johnson sits. With JK playing on ball and the coach's confidence, he's shown that he can be a primary facilitator in getting guys open looks. This means that instead of the team becoming stagnant without their all-star, teams now have to contend with one of the most talented scorers in the league. Some people worry about his three ball, however, that is strictly a confidence issue. Pay attention to the games that Jonathan Kuminga plays without much pressure. Now we're looking at the preseason games. He has a very high three-point percentage shooting in those particular games. The Hawks at this point only need one more piece to maintain a 1-2 punch on the floor to create nightmares for opponents. Onyeka has been shooting the ball well from 3, and Alexander Walker is a problem combo guard for secondary matchups. While Dyson Daniels isn't going to shoot this team into any victories, he gives a lot on the defensive end. As long as opponents respect JJ's and JK's shots, this starting 5 is easily playoff bound in the East with the current lineup. This makes the Hawks one elite 2-guard or point guard away from creating absolute havoc. Let me know if you guys agree. What did you like about Kuminga's debut, and what do you think he could do for the Hawks? Post your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Till next time, swish.